The plant-based zealots are upset that while the sales of their fake meat alternatives are apparently on the rise in some places, sales have not declined at all for the real thing, for real meat. People want real meat. That much is obvious, and the zealots have given us all the data we need to show that really no matter how many different fake meats they make available, regular everyday people don't replace real meat with fake meat, regardless of the propaganda. That's a good thing. It's a sign of hope. Now, if we can only figure out how to get normal people to cut back on their processed food consumption and replace processed foods with whole, natural, simple foods, we may be onto something finally in terms of human health. But the zealots aren't happy about this, since they spent a lot of time and money in the United Kingdom trying to get people to replace red meat with fake meat substitutes, and the results were, at best, mixed. Headline from Anthropocene magazine: Rising sales of plant-based meat are not matched by declines in actual meat consumption. A new study finds that a campaign to promote plant-based meat increased sales by 57%, but didn't make a dent in meat consumption. Judging from the headline, you could spin this positively to mean that people are eating more protein. That's really a good thing any way you cut it, but of course, that's not the point here. Anthropocene magazine repeats the lie that animal agriculture is the cause of what we are told are our problems, of our existential greatest problem in human history that we're confronted with right now. We're told that by some very untrustworthy people who prove they didn't know a thing about science in 2020 and 2021, but disregard all of that and trust them on this issue now. That's what we're told. Animals are proper food for humans. Whether it's as the sole source of food or the basis of a real human food pyramid is something we can all debate among ourselves, but we really can't deny that animals are key to a proper human diet. But the zealots out there do deny that and are openly talking about wanting to change that for all people everywhere. From the Anthropocene magazine article, quote, a new study finds that a UK campaign to promote plant-based alternatives managed to increase their consumption by an impressive 57%, but none of this made a dent in the consumption of meat. The focus of the study was the UK's Veganuary campaign, a charity event embraced by many retailers that encourages people to forfeit meat for a month and attracts tens of thousands of participants each year. You can think of this as sort of like the triple B and E challenge for veganism, basically. This kind of intervention is seen as increasingly important in the country where average meat consumption is significantly higher than the global average. In fact, bringing meat consumption in line with the UK government guidelines would require a decline of 78% just for red and processed meat. Veganuary is designed to help people make the transition by making plant-based alternatives, products made from the likes of soy, tofu, and pea proteins, more available, accessible, and affordable, says Joanna Trewern, a sustainability researcher at the University of Surrey, a lead author on the study. The campaign runs with a range of in-store promotions, discounts, and meal ideas for meat alternatives to increase the visibility of these foods. The idea is that an uptick in the purchases of meat alternatives will replace the meat itself. End quote. First, note something here. They want to replace processed meats, which is a good thing, but not for the reasons they give. Most of the health concerns about processed meats are nonsense, and the studies they use to promote them are nonsense. Processed meats are, however, loaded with different kinds of sugar, be it under the label of dextrose, maltodextrin, corn syrup solids, or plain old sugar, or a number of other labels. I'm not even concerned about nitrates or nitrites, but the sugar presence is something to truly be concerned with. But note something else here. They want to replace all that with more processed food. They want to replace bologna and bacon with plant-based fake meats, which are highly processed themselves. The proponents of this are having at best mixed results from their efforts. They're not getting people to eat less real meat. They're just getting them to eat more protein. Eating more protein is not a bad thing, says the guy who's going to go to the gym after I make this video. From the article, quote, to find out whether this thinking plays out in reality, Trewern and her team looked at sales of plant-based alternatives across 170 countrywide stores of one supermarket chain that ran the Veganuary campaign in 2021. This they compared with sales of meat and other products. They also compared sales during, before, and after the event. When they tallied it all up, the researchers found that stores had received a striking 57% increase in the sales of plant-based alternatives compared to the period before Veganuary started. As an aside here, they don't tell you what the starting amount really was, so 57% may not be that big of an increase. Purchases tapered off after the campaign ended, but still remained 15% higher than they were before it began. This suggests such interventions can have a halo effect that lasts beyond their removal, Trewarn explains, providing an extended window of opportunity, perhaps to encourage consumer preferences towards these foods. However, the unexpected flip side is that despite the increase in plant-based purchases, people ate no less chicken, pork, and beef. In fact, trends show that meat sales remained remarkably stable and insulated before, during, and after the event, representing 26.5% of sales before the campaign, staying at 26.5% while it was underway and declining only fractionally to 26.32% afterwards. Instead of replacing meat with alternatives, it seems consumers may just be adding these new foods to their trolleys on top of their regular shop. End quote. Eating more protein is never a bad thing, though I'd suggest staying away from the plant proteins, which won't do your body nearly as much good as protein from animals like beef or lamb. If you want to build muscle, get a lot of protein and get it from animal sources. Get it from your beef, your eggs, your chicken, whatever. Your body will safely use it to build and repair muscle, either directly or through gluconeogenesis. Your kidney and liver will be fine. They won't be harmed by all that protein. That's just another stupid myth that people keep pushing out of either ignorance or because they're just misanthropic. Our bodies love protein. Human beings love protein. Eat your protein. Take your pick. There's really only one option of whether it's ignorance or misanthropy. That's why they're doing what they're doing. But it gets better, though, because the researchers here note that you can't just make these fake meats available and let the market run its course. Nope, more needs to be done to curb the consumption of the same kinds of foods humans have always eaten all throughout human history. It's really remarkable that people can't see what their data is telling them. Quote, this suggests two things, Trewarn says. Consumer behavior is more susceptible to influence at larger stores, and price promotions that improve affordability can be an important lever to increase adoption, where buying economically is a bigger concern. The latter requires more research to verify, she adds. In terms of increasing the uptake of meat alternatives in people's diets, the researchers did add a caveat. This may require changes to some products, such as plant-based meat analogs. Such products are designed to specifically mimic foods like beef burgers, bacon, and chicken fillets, and they make up an increasing share of meat alternatives. But they also often contain unhealthy levels of fat and salt. Campaigns to increase the share of meat alternatives shouldn't undermine the cause by injecting unhealthy food into the market, the researchers caution. Overall, the study's nuanced look at Veganuary reveals some cracks in the logic of the campaign, but it also highlights ways to make such interventions more effective in steering us away from meat. Just promoting plant-based products isn't enough to deliver healthy, sustainable diets, Trewarn says. Additional action is needed. End quote. I love the anti-fat and anti-salt propaganda, too. You should expect to see more propaganda in the grocery store trying to get you to eat something your eyes, your taste buds, and your metabolism all tell you isn't food for humans. And if they start cutting the fat and the salt down from those foods, they're going to sell even less of them. That's okay. If you're watching this, you're probably not susceptible to their propaganda. You're not tempted by those fake, bland meat things, and you won't be easily fooled by their efforts to get you to buy it. But I'm curious about what you'll do to get your friends and family to avoiding eating this stuff. So let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help. Share this on social media. That helps a lot as well. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time.